Hello. Thank you so much for joining us for another interesting conversation on Thinkly. This conversation is all going to be about the contract manufacturing. Whenever everyone or any particular individual wants to start a manufacturing business, the first opportunity that he looks for is that is there some ready-made business available for him by reaching out to a larger OEM and doing some kind of a work for them, a typical contract manufacturing cycle. It appears to be a very lucrative way, and that's where a lot of businesses begin. However, the value that gets created over a period of time varies based on how the entrepreneur is able to pivot the business on various levels and how is able to drive efficiency and excellence across his business. To talk about how this transition can happen, it's an absolute privilege for us to have an industry veteran who has helped multiple companies transform into great enterprises themselves joining us. It's an absolute privilege for us to have Yogesh Kumar joining us for this conversation. Yogesh, thank you so much for your time and joining us today. I would like to start by understanding how has been your journey so far.
Thank you, Charudatta. Thank you for inviting me for this forum. And it's really a privilege to meet you after such a long time and have a discussion. You know, so thank you very much once again. So let's start. So, if I tell you about my journey, I've spent almost 22 years into FMCG industry, majorly into the operations domain. And when I talk about operations, manufacturing is one of the most important pillar of any operations, vertical of any company. And when you talk about manufacturing and if you still drill it down, there are two types of manufacturing which every company, especially in the field of FMCG and mostly into the pharma and food also. So one is called, in-house manufacturing. Second is called an external manufacturing, right? And so out of these 22 years into operations, I have spent almost 11 years into in-house manufacturing, and now last 11 years I have been into external manufacturing operations handling. And as far as journey is concerned, it's really enjoying. I'm really enjoying the journey. I have learned the aspects of external manufacturing as well as the internal manufacturing, and I have helped companies like Cadbury, Raymond, Dabur, and now a company called Good Care Pharma, which is a Badnath group of company for external manufacturing. So definitely, journey is very enriching and very enjoyable.
Great. I would like to start with a very specific question that I want people to understand. How do, because you have been on the both sides of the table and you have seen both the things happening, when a company decides that they would like to get or explore external manufacturing, what are the reasons? Why do they go for external manufacturing?
So, there is a simple analysis which I say is called make versus buy. And why companies do this analysis, which is make versus buy? There are multiple reasons, but I'll try to pin down the top 3 or 4 reasons. So the first is which is called sudden demand, right? You must have seen the cases of COVID, which suddenly came up, and demands of all the healthcare product and wellness product that spiked like anything. It becomes very difficult for any company to install a capacity overnight or over the month. And there comes the role of external manufacturing. So that's the first reason of going into the analysis of make versus buy. In this point, there are no much scope of doing this analysis rather than to cater the demand and to create the brand credibility and not to lose the potential opportunity in the market. So it's very, very obvious that we have to go for an external manufacturing. We have to search the people who are already having the surplus capacities or who are having the surplus plants or facilities available with them and who can cater us, right? That's the first point. Second is called a marginal demand. When I mean to say marginal demand, suppose I am working in a company and it has got a X capacity, and there is a demand, marginal demand search, which is delta X, right? But delta X is not justifying any sort of capital investment in the industry. When it is not justifying the capital investment, so no company, in fact, invest into the capital at that point of time. Because until and unless the demand is to the tune that it can justify the capex investment, then only we should go for any capex investment. So to serve that demand of the market, that delta X, we normally go for the external manufacturing, so that I need not to invest into a capacity whose utilization is very, very low. Third point why companies search for an external manufacturer is something which is called a niche product. Suppose if I have a manufacturer, contract manufacturer, who has a product, who has already developed a product with the help of his R&D or with the help of his facilities, or whatever may be the reason, and I can see that it can fit to the brand portfolio of my company. And I know that if I'm going to launch the new product, it may capture the market, may not capture the market. So what I do, I'll straight away go to the contract manufacturer, negotiate with him on the costing, see my market pricing, where and how I can place it, what will be the go-to-market strategy, and then straight away I take it from the contract manufacturer. So these are the three major, reason why FMCG or food industries or even pharma, they go for contract manufacturing. That's as per my experience.
Thank you so much for this elaborate conversation, this elaborate explanation, Yogesh. The reason why I wanted to start with this particular topic was also that when somebody looks at contract manufacturing, they need to first start by understanding where do they stand in terms of how the OEM is looking at it. So this is very important and also covers the fact as to how they will be able to create the value. Now, the second question that just builds on the top of this is that when people start, what should be their strategy when somebody wants to start an external manufacturing business working with OEM? How they can start?
Well, there are multiple models of getting into contract manufacturing. For example, if I have capital, I have the land, I have the capacity, and most important, I have the expertise of manufacturing. So there are many companies who are focusing on, building the brand. I'll give a very simple example and very good example. For example, Mama Earth, right? The Mama Earth has become a unicorn, uh, and it has already crossed marginal turnover, right? So initially, if there are people who want to start a manufacturing business, they have the expertise. So Mama Earth's expertise is to create the brand, right? To sell the product, to target the particular segment of the consumers, and they have their niche. I would say researched product, right? So, and if I have, as a manufacturing, if I have a expertise in handling the entire supply chain operation as a manufacturing, then it can be a very good tie-up. That's one. Second, there are many startup. This is a startup era in India. There are many companies into food, into cosmetic, into healthcare, wellness. Those who are coming up with their own brand, and obviously they would not like to invest into the factory first, rather than they would try to invest into building the brand. And here again, there is a scope for an external manufacturer who want to enter into this segment, that he can utilize this potential. So these are few, I would say, reasons. And apart from that, if I can approach big companies and I can capitalize on their marginal high demand, and that also I can utilize for my own external manufacturing. So definitely, to get into this contract manufacturing business, the one first and foremost thing is that you should have an expertise in the manufacturing. should have an expertise into handling the procurement, to the quality, to the manufacturing, and to some extent the logistics. If I have that capacity, and second thing, I have the capital, definitely, we should enter into a contract manufacturing business.
When you start, assuming that you have the expertise and the capital to begin, so do these companies then need to start looking at creating a value by building some kind of a niche product, or just remaining the only the manufacturing unit itself is sufficient?
So first, it depends what is your niche. Like if there is a person who has a niche of developing the product, right? If he can work on that and he knows that this product is going to be an hit product, or he can estimate about it, though it's very difficult to estimate about it. Uh, that can also start manufacturing in his own premises. But I would say that's a secondary part. Primary is like we should have a manufacturing capacity first, so that we can cater the demand of the customer or the brands for an additional requirement of their products, or we can support them in their crisis, so that we can solve their problem. That will be the right way to get it.
So I'm going to bring in a very specific question here. Now, the first thing that we want to look at is about the predictability of the business. Both the cases that you are talking about, wherein I am building a product, and while that's a great thing to do, how that product would eventually work depends on lot more factors.
Yeah.
Secondly, when I'm also looking at helping the OEM manage their demand on what they are looking at it would also depend on a lot of other factors which are not controlled by me, right? So how do, when you want to begin that journey, so is it something like you assign your full capacity to particular OEM, that's a better strategy of doing it, or you basically you believe that creating that niche and then experimenting is a better way of doing it?
So, Charu, as per me, building the capacity is the most important factor first, rather than building a niche. If I have a capacity and if I have an expertise, if I can, give the support of good manufacturing premises to any existing brand, you know, and I can identify that which are my potential customers, those who can get benefit from my manufacturing facility. I think that will be a very good, I would say, the point to start the contract manufacturing business.
Great. So the idea would be to create a base, get the basic process right, my capacity right, and then at this point in time, the operational excellence and efficiency play a big role.
Absolutely.
So, do the companies need to seek any kind of external help, or I'll put it the other way around? So, at what point in time you think that the OEM? This is also the question on the app here. That at what point in time the relationship between the contract manufacturer and OEM becomes more of a partnership, and at what will so can you convert that whole transactional manufacturing into a partnership with the OEM?
Absolutely, absolutely. See, OEM or a brand, it will look for the operational excellence from the day one. Right? Even if they are producing at my facility or a contract manufacturing facility, they would look for the operational efficiencies from day one. They would not like to give me the operational losses. They will not like, I can't charge my operational losses to them. So any contract manufacturer, because manufacturing is going to be the core business for him, the operation excellence, when I say operation excellence, means maintaining the highest standards of efficiencies to save the cost and to bring the contract manufacturing business into profitability. It's very, very important to adhere this from the day one. I can't, nobody can afford to, bear the operational losses, especially the OEM or a brand. Nobody will bear it. And it becomes very, very, and as and when the volume grows, then it becomes more important to utilize these operation excellence tools so that you can utilize your capacity to the fullest, and the capacity utilization and the asset utilization can.
Great. There is a very question, probably some of this is already covered. Samir Mehta wants to understand from your experiences, what are the critical factors that contribute to the success of this manufacturing partnership?
The factors which contributes to the manufacturing partnership. So the first and foremost factor is the quality, the processes which we are following as a contract manufacturer. If they are of a particular, of international standards, right? So that's the foremost thing. So obviously the quality of the product which we are producing and how we are producing. Second is called delivery. If I'm not delivering on time as per my OEM or my customer or the brand demand, then there will not be any use of assigning a contract manufacturer for producing the brand. Third comes the cost. Now it depends upon the customer to customer how he is looking at whether is prioritizing the cost or is prioritizing the delivery, right? So I think these are the three most important factors for building a good relation between an OEM and a contract manufacturer. If I can control my quality, if I can control my delivery, if I can control my cost, that's perfectly fine for the relationship. As far as the
So, please continue.
as far as the profitability of the contract manufacturer is concerned, so that is like the another tool like sustainability, the operation excellence that contract manufacturer has to utilize on his own.
Agreed. Yusuf has a very interesting question here. He said that if I start engaging with somebody as a contract manufacturer, what is it that I can gain?
What is that I can get?
Yeah.
It is like basically the there are whenever a contract manufacturer is negotiating on the costing. So basically there are profitability, and second is called the association with the brands. For example, as a contract manufacturer, if I am associated with Unilever, if I am associated with Dabur, Imami, Baidyanath, or any brand, so that gives a credibility to the contract manufacturer. That yes, his manufacturing facility are at par with the standards of these companies. You must have heard about Hindustan Foods. That's a now stock exchange listed company doing a turnover of more than almost 2,000 crores. By the way, it doesn't have its own brand. It is only a contract manufacturing business.
Yes. So from the place where we have on one side the brands creating a very large value, we also have now a case study wherein the contractor manufacturer itself creating a value and realizing that value of bringing IPO. That's a very
Absolutely.
great question. Now, one question which is coming in is that you have worked across sectors. So, what has been your experience of moving from one sector to the other, and what are the best practices that you have been able to carry from one sector to the other?
I have been into food like Cadbury's. I have been into personal care and cosmetics, which is
Yes.
Raymond. I've
Right.
been into Ayurveda. I've been into pharma a little bit.
Yes.
So, see, the basic principle of contract manufacturing is almost similar. There is no big difference. As far as the quality and the processes are concerned, they only vary from one sector to another sector. Otherwise, frankly speaking, I don't see much difference. It's the same principle on which all the contract manufacturing, I would say, fraternity is working on.
Sure. So, Tamanna Ojha has a question from a business point of view. How can you ensure that the quality is maintained if specifically when you are giving the manufacturing to a external party? How you can maintain quality as a brand?
For a contract manufacturer,
Yeah.
quality and delivery is the only brand. doesn't have anything else. And the second thing or third thing, if you can talk about, is only the, how do you deal with your customers or with the brands. So these are the only two things. And if we can sustain on the quality parameters, if we can sustain on the delivery parameter for a customer, so that's a big thing for any contract manufacturer. And believe me, we will not have any kind of what you call dearth of the business.
Great. I think Tamanna probably wants to understand more is that if she needs to outsource the things to somebody else, how can she ensure that the quality is maintained at the third party location?
No, I couldn't understand, Charles.
No,
Please.
if she wants to outsource something to a contract manufacturer, how
Okay.
an OEM or the brand would ensure that the third party is maintaining that quality?
So they're called, you can do a pre-audit of the systems of the contract manufacturer. You can go and check what it is producing, how it is producing. If it's an existing contract manufacturer, what is the quality of the people it has recruited? What is the system it has adopted? For example, the SOPs, the in-process quality checks. How's the infrastructure of this, contract manufacturer? So all these parameters will give me an kind of assurance that yes, if the manpower is well qualified, the staff is well qualified, if the equipment, the machinery is of great standards, it can avoid any kind of loopholes of quality malfunctioning. Then what are the methodologies contract manufacturers are adopting to produce the products? So these are the three things which will have to go and audit them. And then there are something which is called regular audits during the productions. So these are the things which we can adopt to ensure that yes, our quality is being maintained. Apart
This,
from checking on the raw material quality, packaging material quality, so those are regular whether you do it in house or into the contract manufacturing.
the supplementary question from her is that how do you ensure that the patents or particularly any kind of copyrights that you own, they are not infringed when you use a external manufacturing?
Uh, See, that's a big gray area into contract manufacturing business. That can be controlled with the legal agreements. If there are something which is very crucial, then it can be it can be it's like you manufactured one particular ingredient or one particular semi-finished good in X contract manufacturer, decode it, send it to the second contract manufacturer, and so that he can mix and send it. That's what we have adopted in various companies. It's a bit tedious process, but that's the only way to secure your patents or secure your formulations or to some extent the product. I would say the secrecy.
Yes. Gayatri wants to understand how do businesses navigate the challenges and risks associated with contract manufacturing, ensure that there is a seamless partnership with the brand.
Sorry, I couldn't get it, sir.
So she wants to understand how do an OEM navigate through the risks that are associated with contract manufacturing and maintain a seamless relationship with the brand.
So risk in terms of product quality, delivery, cost, in what like
In terms
if it
of
is
the relationship risk, particularly things changing at the OEM level, so how do you maintain that you are still part of the OEM plans or the brand plans?
uh, so that is a totally professional relationship. You know, it depends upon how we deal with each other. Whether as an OEM, whether I'm paying him on time, whether I'm getting the right quality product and on-time product. Right? It's a mutual relation. Whether he is giving me the due credit, which he is getting it from the other vendors, or in terms of taxes or whatever, So these are all, very vast and debatable things. But most of the things goes around, confidential information security, the transparency into the costing, transparency into the manufacturing operations, and the quality systems. These are the three major things, I would say, where we can maintain our relations.
Sure.
Most of
Raj,
the, sorry, I would like to add, most of the relations get hampered majorly on the cost and the payment terms, I would say. Whether OEM is not paying him on time, or even if OEM has paid on time to the contract manufacturer, he is not paying to the vendors. He is supplying to the. So these are the few things which we need to take care for maintaining the relations.
sure. Raj Vyas has a very important question.
Mhm.
He wants to understand how does geographical location impact the choice of contract manufacturing partner, and what are the considerations that should be taken into account?
Pipeline of the.
No, how does geographical location of a particular place decides the choice of contract manufacturing partner, and what are the considerations that the brand would take into account?
See, brand would go as per, for example, I was in Dabur or I am in Wagner. So I will go as per my, sales distribution across the geography. How much I am selling in north, how much selling in west, how much selling in south and east. Right? Now, if I have a big demand in south, definitely, I would look for a contract manufacturer in the south. I'll not go and manufacture in the north and then supply to the south, unless and until it is my own manufacturing unit. If I need to find a contract manufacturer, definitely I would like to add somebody in the north region. So for a contract manufacturer to install a factory or to install a facility, it is very, very important that he has to look who are going to be their target customers, and what is their sales distribution across the geography, and especially in the geography where he's planning to invest. So these are the things which needs to be taken care by a contract manufacturer.
One important question here is from Deepa is that what strategies can companies employ to maintain a competitive edge and ensure excellence in their contract manufacturing process?
So the OEM or the contract manufacturer.
The contract manufacturing.
See, it's a mutual thing basically. When I say let's talk about cutting edge technology, I want to adopt a world class cutting edge technology for manufacturing a particular brand or particular type of product or particular category, right? Let's say cosmetic. If I have such a high value equipment, high value plant, then definitely a small brand or I would say a mass brand won't be able to afford it. Right? Then I'll have to go with the premium brands. So it's a mutual thing. Like I'll give an example. I was talking to one of the contract manufacturer in South. So they have a telecom facility, and that facility is one of the best facility in the world, perhaps, if not in India. But unfortunately, there are many brands in India, telecom, they don't want to adopt to that because it's a costly and expensive process. Though it can, give a world-class telecom powder, but they can't afford it because they're the target customers. They can't afford that much of price. So it depends upon the customer what kind of technology he is going to adopt and what kind of customer he is going to serve. Whether he is looking for high value, low volume products or low value, high volume products. So it's going to be, and there are many times where brands comes in and they tell to the contract manufacturer that this is my technology. If you can do this, this is going to be my costing. And then it goes on the cost benefit analysis from the contract manufacturer side. He does if the contract manufacturer is able to get a cost benefit, there's no harm in investing it, provided there are certain assurance given by the OEM or the brand.
Sure. Sini has a nice way of putting something. Can contract manufacturing make products cooler and more innovative? And how can they do that?
They can, I know many contract manufacturers who have got their own, packaging design studios. They have got their own beautiful pilot laboratories or pilot plants where they do a lot of innovation and renovation. I would not hesitate to name one of the contract manufacturer in South. Its name is Primacy Industries. I hope I can take the names, right? So
Certainly.
they are so innovative, especially into FMCG products, especially into personal care, whether it is aerosols or whether it is candles, scented candles. A specialization of them is into the scented candles. If you see their candles, you will find a lot of innovation into their product and as well as into their packaging. So if a contract manufacturer is interested and want to grow and want to build something niche in terms of packaging and in terms of product, it's very much possible. And then he can also think from the its customer point of view, that which are the things which I am doing innovation on can fit into my customers brand portfolio. So that's how a contract manufacturer, I think, can do a lot of innovation and research.
The how the relationship between the OEM or in general a contract manufacturing as a space, how is it getting impacted by technology?
Mm, yes, but I don't think contract manufacturing space is getting impacted by technology. It's not getting impacted. As long as brands are, looking for a good manufacturer, they will look for its infrastructure, hygienic environment, hygienic infrastructure, its ability to produce a good quality product, and its ability to deliver on time, its ability to handle the whole supply chain, whether it's procurement, the raw material, manufacturing, and the delivery. Unless and until there is a specific requirement about the latest technology by the. So, if a contract manufacturer wants to get into the latest technology, uh, that is his wish, but again, he has to keep in mind that which kind of customer or which kind of OEMs he is targeting. So I don't think it is getting impacted by the technology, because if Dabur is producing something with his own technology, right? I don't think any contract manufacturer, unless and until it is like I would say Hindustan Foods or Vanity Case or Tirupati Group, those who have a lot of credibility on the finances and the funding, and unless and until the customer is able to give him the large volume, it doesn't get impacted.
So we can you just roughly say that if you are basically operating at a reasonable level of technology, right, not a very old one, then you will have a good run with the OEM for a sufficiently longer period of time to recover your cost, as long as you are able to maintain things, particularly the quality delivery, both and the cost. If you are able to maintain that, then you stand a very good chance of doing it for a substantially long period of time.
Absolutely. There are many live examples with many companies, those who are in association from last, I would say more than 15 years.
Okay. So
I've
there is
seen
a
with, I have seen with Cadbury, I've seen with Raymond's, I've seen with Dabur, I've seen with Bedna. I've seen a contract manufacturer who are associated with these companies from last 15 years.
so so there is a process and there's a way for people to hang around. So it's not going to be something that people it's just going to vanish or so but depending you are able to maintain the three critical parameters, your quality,
Correct.
delivery, and the cost.
And obviously the transparency and the good relationship.
Agree. Now, there are some questions which are coming at a personal level also. So, people
Okay.
want to now understand how has been your personal journey across various sectors, and you have worked at a very large organization. So, how do these different cultures align, and how you have been able to navigate through all of them?
So as I said, Charu, like the basic principles are same, but yes, it was a quite different experience. I'll not say challenging experience, but it was a different experience when I moved from GlaxoSmithKline to Cadbury, because that was an internal manufacturing, and Cadbury when I joined there as an unit head, that was an external manufacturing. So that was little challenging. No, I'll not say challenging, but little different. More or less, it was taking care of the manufacturing, and the manufacturing KPIs are basically the quality, delivery, and the cost, and then comes the sustainability and all these things. So the basic principle was same for contract as well as this. Only difference is that in internal manufacturing, whatever you do, you can take your own calls. But when you work with contract manufacturer, there you'll have to deal in a different way. Uh, Suppose if you want to give an idea of an operation excellence, or let's say we want to implement a Kaizen, right? So ultimately, that's going to give benefit to all the companies. I will implement that Kaizen for the cost benefit of my brand, but definitely that will be implemented by the people of the contract manufacturer. So he will also have some sort of share into it. So these are few things which we need to which I faced a little different, and otherwise across sectors, across companies, the basic principle was same, that quality, delivery, and the cost.
Amazing. So, you set the tone absolutely right. I would like to conclude this conversation with your guidance to people who are looking at starting a contract manufacturing business.
My guidance.
Yes.
Uh, One thing is that which is most important, that any brands who is looking for contract manufacturer, first thing, he is looking for a good quality of food. Ultimately, they are going to produce their brand products, right? So that's my piece of advice to any contract manufacturer who wants to start into this business. Please invest in a good quality of people, right? When good quality of people comes in, they are able to maintain good systems. They are able to maintain good processes, and last but not the least, the relationship with the client, with the brands. So that's the biggest piece of advice, because I have seen most of the contract manufacturers who start, they try to compromise on the quality of the people they recruit, they engage with, and which ultimately hampers the long term relationship with the brands and OEMs. So because when a person from, let's say Unilever or Dabur or Imami, when he starts interacting with them, he's not going to interact directly with the owner. He's going to interact with his on a day-to-day basis. He's going to interact with his working force. If they are not able to respond, or they are not able to reply or conduct the or to execute as per the brand's requirement, then it becomes very difficult for brands to continue. So that's one. And second is like, it should be a decent facility. It should not be very, very, rough, very, very. It should have some decent standards, if not WHO or, international standards, etc. Should have a decent standards. Rest can be managed. That's my piece of advice.
Sure. Thank you so much for this amazing insights, Yogesh. I believe that this is going to be one of the most watched videos in in this series because there are some real gems, some real insights that you have shared. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Charudatta. Thank you very much. And it was really pleasure talking to you and the team. Thank you.